So I'm frying some beer battered shrimp, just a small batch. Have the grease heating, and here's my batter. And what I do is I take a bag like this, and I put flour in, and I dust them like this so that the batter will stay on, adhere to it better, and then drop it down in the batter, and then I'm gonna fry it. So let me test my grease. See if it's hot. Yep, like it crackle. Then I put the water in. You don't want the grease too hot because you can burn the outside of the batter before the shrimp are done. So I turn my heat to medium heat, and we're dropping it. We're going in. See that sizzle? That's what you're looking for. You want to hold it by the tail. I leave the shells on the tail so I can grip it and drop it down. And it don't take long. As you can see, it's starting to brown already. And you don't want to crowd the pan because they will stick together. You just want to put a couple in at a time, so you'll need to do this, in a couple batches. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there. Okay. Once that starts to brown, what you want to do is, if you have a spatula, I use this little strainer here, and I kind of move them around so they don't get too brown on one side. Kind of toggle around like this. And as you can see, they're starting to brown already. Nice, pretty crisp. It don't take long, like 3 to 4 minutes. And these are Argentina shrimp. So they are naturally tender and sweet anyway. So they get done pretty quick. You don't want to overcook shrimp because they will be like rubber. Especially the like white shrimp and tiger shrimp and all that. I usually stick to Argentina because they are really tender and sweet. So, and see, that quick, we're almost done. I like them, I like to make sure that the browning is a little even. But I did notice that sometimes when I use store brand oil, this time I used the Wegmans canola oil, and this seems to be okay. But some store brand oils have a tendency of taking too long to brown your food, and I'm like, what in the world's going on? Like, I thought maybe the grease wasn't hot enough and all that. Surprisingly, these are browning pretty good. But I've had some of those oils from like Walmart, that Value or whatever their brand is, that seemed like it wasn't browning, and I end up overcooking my shrimp because it was deceiving. So if you do have an oil like that, just know that if you had them in there at least 4 minutes and they're not browning, it's time to take them out. What you can do is stick them in the oven after they cool to get some browning on there and to keep the little crisp to it. So what I did with my batter, you can eyeball your batter. I don't have a specific recipe that I use anymore. So what I do is, this is a batter you can kind of play with. I started out with a recipe, but as I begin to cook different amounts of shrimp, I start just eyeballing. And what I have in here is, I have the Coors Light beer. It don't matter. I just try to stick with a lager, and I use a little club soda. This has been a trick to get that puffiness. This is the club soda. And if you can see how these puffed up, that's with the help of the club soda. So I was like, oh, I like that look. And it gives it a nice crisp and a crunch to it. So yeah, that's what I started doing. So those two items, and you can put a seasoning in it, like some cayenne, or I try not to do black pepper because sometimes um, it burns in the oil. I do a little bit of like a pinch of cayenne pepper, and sometimes I use like a garlic powder, not garlic salt. And of course, I have to always have my obey. So the best thing to do is like when you take them out of the grease like this, you want to, I like to sprinkle some on while they're still nice and hot, so the oil, the hot oil, the shrimp will grab that seasoning. So now I'm going in with another batch. My grease is pretty good, and if it's not, you can always take your spatula and pick up some of the crut that's left behind. That's what my mother called it. So yeah, and you want to make your batter. I'm not sure if you can see this, but see that soupiness? You want it like a pancake consistency. The thinner, the better, I think. So what I did was I mixed some flour with like half flour, half cornstarch, and like a tablespoon full of baking powder. That helps. So that's what kind of the baking soda and the baking powder and the what you call it, the cornstarch kind of help you with that crunch. If you want that crispiness. I don't do an egg anymore. I used to do an egg in my batter, but I found out that it activates the gluten in it more, and they come out more bready. If that's what you like, that's fine. But they seem to come out a little breaded when you use an egg. So I keep it simple and thin, because I like the little crispiness on it. And see how I just dip out of the flour, and see it when it's thin, that flour that I dusted on before helps it to stick to the shrimp. So going in, and there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 again. And I have about 6 to 10 more. So hope you got something out of this. And I just lay it on a napkin. You can lay it on a baker's rack if you want so to ensure that it stays crispy. But I like my shrimp drained really well from oil because I don't want to be getting sick. So okay, hope you enjoyed this. Talk to you later.